Straight Outta Jersey with Jerzey Jz coming up next on Straight Outta Jersey. This legend of the ring has won numerous wrestling titles and awards. He was one of the most popular wrestlers in the NWO, along with Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash. He was just featured on the popular TV series Dark Side of the Ring. Straight Outta Jersey welcomes wrestling legend Marcus Buff Bagwell.
So let's get started. I want to first, how's your health? Let's start with your health first. How's your health going?
It's good. When I first got sober, 19 months ago, that was part of me getting, starting to stay messed up and drunk more, was because my knee from that car wreck just wasn't healing. And so I really got down about that. And so after I got sober, the first thing I did was start getting my knee better. But really, my left foot was also messed up real bad during that time. So I had my knee done first, that was in September. And then, then after that, February the 20th, I did my left foot surgery. And that foot surgery came from a motorcycle. I had my Harley. I dumped my Harley over on it and squashed it, but it didn't break. It didn't break my foot. It just kind of messed it up. From that, I got a thing called a hammer toe, and they went in and redid my foot. They broke it. They broke all the toes. They put pins in everything, and crazy how they do that. But 8 weeks, I've been on a scooter for 6, but I got to stay on a scooter for 8 weeks. But physically, mentally, I've never been in a better place. This walk of sobriety has been a real good thing for me. I didn't know it could be this good, but healthy, feeling good. And after this foot surgery gets done, I think I'll be hopefully getting back in the ring.
That's great. That's great. Dark Side of the Ring. I love the series. At season 5, episode 2, Buff and the Bagwells. Great episode. How did you get picked to do that episode?
No, I have no idea. They contacted me. I can tell you where I was at. I was on the way home from Huntsville, Alabama, and doing a signing in Huntsville. And I was excited about it because, it's been 20 years since I've been on television. So the Dark Side reached out, and I knew it was a big deal of them reaching out. There's a father that I shot, and there's Missy Hyatt. There's a lot of people telling the story that some not telling it all correctly, but everybody told it the way it's supposed to be told, which is the truth. And the Dark Side, though, they did a great job of putting it together with the reenactments and everything. They did a great job. They could have easily turned that. It made me a really bad guy. But the way the stuff they edited to let me talk the story and tell the story, and the way I explained everything, which is the truth, it came across really well, and I was very impressed with how they put it on.
Oh, great. Take my audience back, maybe a little bit of the backstory, until that moment in the kitchen with you and your father and when a 17-year-old Buff Bagwell. What happened?
I was, things were really bad during that time. The brothers, everybody was fighting. So the lumber business was getting sold. Money was very, very small, but all big toys still, big cars, big houses, big payments, but money was getting rough. And so, but I'm still in high school. I'm still baseball, football. I'm still being an athlete. I'm still trying to play ball and do all my stuff. And Mom and Dad started fighting a lot during that time, and the brothers wasn't there. It was just me. And so I was in the middle of them fighting a lot. So finally one day they were really fighting, and I heard, Mark, help me, and I'd gotten, pretty big from 16 to 18. I'd muscled up and gotten strong. And so I ran down there and I grabbed my dad, and before I knew it, I kind of really overpowered him. And as soon as I kind of overpowered him, I knew it was trouble. And he saw me and our eyes met, and he bolted for that refrigerator, and I was like, oh my God. So, but at this time, I'm a pretty tough kid, 17, seen a lot, done a lot, 17-year-old boy, pretty tough, youngest of 3 boys. And, I was more mad when he pulled the gun on me. I was like, look, man, just put the gun down, bro. You're you're going to kill somebody, and you're going to, you're going to go to prison forever. Just put the gun down, man. And the damn doorbell rang, and there was a cable guy at the door, literally a cable guy. And so my mom, he goes, get out there and take care of that. And he shoved my mom in the back of the head. And, I went at him again. He pulled the gun back on me, and I was like, oh God. So now I'm getting madder and madder myself, but there's a gun on me. So finally he goes, get outside and get all the keys out of the car. Nobody's leaving. So I'm going outside. I'm getting the keys out of the car to bring them inside. And as I'm doing that, Mom starts to leave. And I'm thinking that's going to be a good idea. If she just leaves, me and the old man, we'll fix it. We'll fix it like we always have. We'll fix it. She starts backing out. He comes out and boom, boom, blows the tires out of the car. And then he pulls her out of the driver's side window. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. I looked and I saw the cable guy watching this. And there's got to be a medical term for what happened next. But I completely blacked out. And I went to get his gun. I passed the guns on the refrigerator and went to where I knew the other guns were, but I was gone. I'd have gone to the refrigerator. It was much closer, but I passed right by the refrigerator because I was in a blackout stage. I get a gun from his closet. I come back out, and then pop caps, boom, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. But it went into complete slow motion for me. When I pulled the gun up, in my mind, I said, blow the windshield out and make an impression. Boom. Blow the windshield out and make an impression. Boom. And then my brain said, kill him.
Wow.
Put the gun on him. Boom. And later on, when me and Dad talked about the shooting, he thought I had my .45 automatic because I squeezed him off so fast. He said, wow. Bow, bow, bow. So it was real fast, but it was his 38. I didn't know this until probably 2 years later. But the gun I grabbed when there was 15 pistols in his closet, the one I grabbed had police blue tip explodo tips in it. That when it hits something, it blows up. So I hit him in the arm, and his arm blows up. So it blows his arm up. I found that gun like 2 years later in a drawer I opened with the bullets still in it, but all of them empty.
Wow. Did you get in trouble by the police when the investigation or anything when they went to the hospital or?
So after the gun was empty, my dad darts behind his car. And, if you're in a family where you pull a gun on somebody, bullets come this way too. So I don't really know what he's got and all that. So I get upstairs and get my gun because I'm out of bullets now. I put one in my .45. I go back down, and somebody's knocking at the door, and I'm still kind of freaked out. I just shot my father. So I open the door, and when I open the door, it's my mom, and she goes, "You shot your father." And I was like, "Are you kidding? I saved your life, So I go in there, and I call my brother, and I go, "Hey, man, get over here." He's like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I shot Dad." He goes, "You did what?" I said, "Just get over here, man." So I go upstairs, and I listen. And police come, they show up, and they're asking questions. And my dad's playing the role of, I shot myself cleaning my gun. So he's playing that role. And during the story getting told, the brothers show up. And, the Bagwells were well known in Cobb County just because of money and sports and stuff. But still, we were always in a little bit of trouble as well with fighting and things. So the Cobb County knew exactly where we lived. So they were there, but keep in mind, we didn't call them. So as we're talking, the officer says to my brother, "Hey, what's your language?" And my brother goes, "What'd you say to me? Can we cuss on your podcast or not?"
Sure, go ahead.
And so he goes, "What'd you say to me?" And he goes, "Don't cuss." And my brother goes, "Fuck you, you fucking pig." He goes, "This is our house." And my dad stood up and goes, "As a matter of fact, get off our fucking property."
Wow.
So the cops got to leave. We didn't call them, so they
Mm-hmm.
leave, and I guess the cable guy must have called the police. I'm thinking because what he saw. I swear to God, when I tell this whole story, and Dark Side of the Ring heard the whole story, they edited it the way they wanted. But when I was shooting the bullets, going through the vision I got in my head, blow the windshield out, kill him. I swear to God, in the background is the van of the cable guy. And I swear to Jesus Christ, I remember it vividly. Him looking like this, seeing the bullets coming, going like this, running like this, and diving in the back of his van. I swear to God. True story.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's just one of the stories on Dark Side of the Ring.
That's
and then
one.
that's just one.
That's
And
just
you have
one
many of them.
Bagwell story, bro.
Yes. It's a
Hey,
great
let me
episode.
tell you. I got to tell you this.
Go
The
ahead.
first time, and Kevin Nash, if you ever interview Kevin Nash, he will tell you this same story. Kevin Nash, the first time I told any wrestler about this story, I told the entire story, just like I told you. And of course, when a good story like that don't have any changes in it, you just know it happened. You know what I'm saying? And that story from Dark Side to me, to you, it never changes because it's the truth. But I told Kevin that story, and we were at a hotel called an Admiral Benbow.
Okay.
Or Admiral Benbow. And he picked the phone up and called Dallas Page. Dallas came down, and I told the story to him. Now, told the story twice. It takes a little time to tell that whole story. Then Dallas calls Stone Cold, which is Stunning Steve Austin.
Of course.
For us. Stone Cold comes down. I told it 3 times, and they start calling somebody else. I go, look, guys, get everybody down. And I told the story one more time, and it was like, Bagwell, you're crazy.
And once you tell a wrestler, your image and everything shoots right up because they're like, this guy's crazy.
I became the little quiet rookie, snot nosed kid in the corner too. You don't need to mess with Bagwell.
Don't mess with him.
Bagwell's pretty tough.
Another great story is, I'm a lifter myself. I work out. My calves, they don't grow. I try working them out. They don't grow. I don't know what I got to do.
They don't. They're the most genetic body. They're the most genetic body part there is, and I know you know that because
yes,
I didn't go into the blade because you can build your calves. Your calves, either you got them or you don't.
Or you don't. Yes, exactly. So what made you say I'm going to get implants?
Okay, great story again. There was a guy that lived in Marietta, Georgia, and his name was Kelly Owen. Okay. And he was a real cool guy, bodybuilder guy. He was older than us. He was probably 10 years older than me. But he just, but he was a bodybuilder. But he did a lot of stuff. He did a cleft in his chin. He had chest implants, biceps, and we called him. I mean, he's a great guy. We loved him, but we called him Plastic Man because he was plastic. But he still trained and stuff. But his calves looked incredible. And I was like, man, your calves are fantastic. He goes, they're fake. And I said, what? So I started my research. I mean, here's a guy in Atlanta, this guy, the doctor that does it. I went to 2 other people and saw their calves by the same doctor. The time I did this in 1993, there had only been 75 calf implants in the United States.
Wow.
75, brother. So when I went to the doctor, so I investigate it. I look at it. I go to the doctor. It's $10,000. I make sure I got time off from WCW. They don't know what for, but we were taking some kind of spring break during that time. And I took the time for that. And I wasn't going to miss no time because I wasn't going to get injured. I was going to it was like 2 weeks off is all it took. It was outpatient surgery. I come home from the surgery, man, and for 2 days I had great calves. And then 2 days later, I'm sitting there and my mom was with me and she was like, I don't know how they, I mean, I know how they found that footage, but I'm glad they found that footage of my mom because my mom was with me. And I'll never forget, I'm laying on the floor with my legs up. And my mom's tickling my calves and rubbing on them and icing them and heating them and just trying anything, you know. And I said, look, I'm going to get up and take another pain pill. And my mom said, baby, I'm telling you, I've never seen you hurt like this. I think you should go to the hospital. And I said, Mom, it was like 2 a.m. I was like, man, I don't want to do that, Mom. Let me take a pain pill and go to bed. And she goes, no, I'm telling you, you should go. So we hop in the car, we walk in the door. Anytime you're in trouble like that, they feel your foot for your heartbeat. And if you can't feel that heartbeat, I didn't know this, but it's real bad. So he feels my foot and don't feel the heartbeat. And there goes my pants. They start cutting my pants off. And I'll never forget this. I said this on the dark side, but it was another interview they found. He goes, the calves have got to come out. And I go, I don't want them out. He goes, well, you got 2 choices. The calves stay in, but we got to cut your legs off at the knee down. And I said, I remember thinking about it like, let me think here. Can I still make them? I mean, I hated my calves. I wanted the calves. And he goes, Mark, you're going to lose your leg, both of them. So what medically that's called is compartment syndrome. You say the word compartment syndrome around any doctor's office or hospital, and you will get a look because compartment syndrome, every one of your muscles, big man, every muscle you got is in a pocket. I learned this that day in 1993. Is in a pocket. Your bicep is in a pocket. Your forearm is in a pocket. Your calf is in a pocket. If something happens and trauma happens to that pocket, blood fills in that pocket. That pocket filling with blood is called compartment syndrome. And it's bad.
Wow. Jeez, and you still have those implants to this day?
I still got them. Yeah, I don't have them with me. Like I used to show them on interviews. Somebody eventually bought them, but I carried them around for a long time.
Wow.
On that Vanity Insanity, I had them on that and showed them. I tried to sell them on eBay for a long time. I think I got them somewhere still.
Okay. As we move into your wrestling, Missy Hyatt discovers you.
Right.
You were a massage therapist, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. and you said you weren't getting a lot of customers. I can't believe that with the way you look. You know, a good-looking guy.
Well, hear me out.
Body.
There was a plan. The look, you know, was partly my parents was who thought of the massage therapy. I was thinking some kind of sports something. I was still I was 18, brother. I didn't know nothing about anything except lumber and sports. So what do you want to do with your life? I didn't know. So I thought maybe sports massage, sports medicine. I'm already a male stripper. So I'm doing things. I'm getting paid by my looks. So I'm thinking, well, massage therapy. You know, when I was 10, 11, and 12 years old, I would massage all the girls at the lumber company. I'd come in and I would massage their shoulders. And for some reason, I was really good at it. And my parents, when I was 17, 18, and they started going broke, they go, what about massage? And we started thinking about it with my looks, and maybe my looks would help me with that. And we went in. I graduated number one in my class. And I remember during that 8 months of class, I remember every dude I saw was pasty white, skinny as a rail, and not very attractive. And I used to laugh at them. I was like, not to their face, but I was like, man, I'm going to make a killing at this. And nobody chose to smarten me up to it. But I get hired to a company called Corporate Sports, number one company in Atlanta. Very excited about it. All the big places, Galleria Athletic Club, the Buckhead Athletic Club. The first woman that walks in looks in my face and turns around and walks out. And I went, well, ma'am, excuse me. Well, fast forward a couple of weeks, and I start asking them, well, why won't you let me massage you? I heard my husband would kill me. I may have some fat on my back. I may have a bump on my back. So the women talk a tough game, But really, when you boil it down to coming in that room, taking your clothes off, getting under that sheet, I really think them being self-conscious, I really believe that my looks and my personality made it to where it went against me. I really do. I really think it went against me. And so I fought for it, bro. I went to school for 9 or 10 months, brother. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. I didn't want to give this up. This was going to be my career. So I started doing massages to women getting their nails done for like $10 to break the ice. So I did it, and I broke the ice at one place. It was no way to do it on a big scale. Right when all of this was going on, Missy Hyatt found me.
Missy Hyatt found you. So she finds you. You're not really interested in wrestling. Your brother, I think, John is, or
John was interested in it, and she goes, no. She goes, so I see her at the pool. We actually don't talk at the pool. You know, there's always three sides to a story. There's mine, there's yours, and then there's the truth. So the truth really is that I saw her at the pool from across the pool. I was like, who's that hot blonde, you know? But I'm married to my first wife. I come back to my apartment. And when I get back to my apartment, she's moving in right across from me. She had told the people, move me into wherever that guy lives right there. So she moved in right next door to me. I remember the room numbers. My apartment was 1504 and Missy Hyatt's was 1505. I got incredible memory, bro. So that night, I tell on myself because that's what I do to stay out of trouble. I said, hey, I saw a really hot blonde today at the pool. She was really, all of a sudden, knock at the door. I go to the door and it's her. I'm like, what is she doing? I said, this is the girl I was telling you about. I open the door. She introduced herself. We start talking. I said, yeah, my brother watches that stuff, but I don't really watch it no more. She goes, I'm talking about you. She goes, you should. I go, there's no money in that. And she goes, our lowest paid guy makes $100,000 a year. And I said, tell me more. So I remember me being the Marcus Alexander Bagwell athlete that I was and I am, and talking to Missy. I mean, my family got excited I was going to wrestling school. So they threw a party for me going to wrestling school. I came home from that first night of wrestling school to a party that I told everybody there I was not doing it no more. I said, guys, this is different. This is something else, boys. I said, I'm telling you, I've never done what I just did. To do this and to do it 4 days a week, I can't imagine doing that. This is something I'm not ready for. For some reason, man, I kept going back. I think money is the only reason I kept going back. And I kept getting trained. And finally, after about 2 weeks of getting my brains beat out, the guy named Steve the Brawler Lawler said, look, man, you can do this. You got what it takes. Let me show you how to do this. And he showed me how it really goes. And I was like, you bastard. You beat me up for 2 weeks.
Wow.
But that's how they got to do it, you know, and that makes the business good, and I get it now. But yeah, from that point on, man, it wasn't easy, bro. No. I mean, if you really look at the day I graduated high school, which is 18 years old, to September of 91, that's not fully 3 years. So from graduating high school to massage therapy, to everything else you're talking about, I was on a WCW stage in 3 years. That's a lot of luck involved with that.
You had to be the youngest one on the roster.
Oh, the youngest kid on the roster. They didn't know what to do with me, bro. They were like, Dusty goes, look, you're gorgeous, but I don't know what to do with you. You're too young. You may not even know what you're doing here. We're going to hire you to go to school. We'll just go to school for us, and I'll figure something out. He goes, I love your teeth, is what Dusty told me. He goes, I love your smile, and you got great teeth. I'm hiring you because of your teeth. And he goes, I want you to go to school. I made $500 a week to go to school. 2 days of going to school, and Barry Windham blew his knee out. I filled in for Barry Windham, and they saw that I could do this, and I never looked back.
I'm friends with a lot of the boys, and is it true? I think it was Demolition Axe told me he gave you your name, the Handsome Stranger. Is that true?
It is true.
Okay.
I don't hear that story much on the other side.
No.
But when I was the fabulous Fabian when I first started at North Georgia Wrestling, and then when Global opened up, they brought me into Global, and Joe Pedicino, my boss that thought of Fabian, and Demolition Axe. He wasn't wrestling then. He was one of the office guys. He was one of the owners, I think.
And,
His wife thought of the Handsome Stranger. They gave me that gimmick, and I was embarrassed about that gimmick. I didn't know. I was kind of embarrassed about it with a little mask and all that. And now I look back on it, and people are like, man, we really liked that gimmick. It was a good gimmick, you know? So it was a very big time in my life.
Your first tag team was with Two Cold Scorpio. Is that when it started to connect?
Yeah. When it connected for me at WCW was I was just a young kid in the locker room just hanging out. And they put me with Chris Benoit on a singles match on WCW Saturday night. And I went out there and didn't have any idea what I was doing, but I knew how to do all the moves. And I went out there, me and Chris had a hell of a match. And when I got to the back, Dusty Rhodes is screaming my name, Marcus. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? And I walked up to him and he rips his headset off and he goes, you didn't tell me you knew how to wrestle. And I go, yeah, man, I can wrestle. And so they saw me with Benoit, and instantly they go, you're going with Two Cold Scorpio. And him and Van Vader talked about it because him and Vader and Two Cold lived in Boulder, Colorado. And so he knew Vader well. So they put me with Two Cold, and off I went.
Off you went. You did pretty well there, winning some titles. And then you went to, you got Scotty Riggs along the way, right? You had Stars and Stripes.
Well, Stars and Stripes, we won 2 times. We won 2 titles with Stars and Stripes. Dale was a great partner too. And, you know, when Scorpio got fired or released or whatever happened to him, you know, keep in mind, you're Marcus Alexander Bagwell. I'm like, I'm going to get fired too. And they called me up. They're like, hey, man, we want you to do this other thing called Stars and Stripes. I go, okay. So 2-time World Tag Team Champions with Dale. And then after that, you know, Scotty Riggs came in and put with him, and that's when Lethal Weapon was a real popular movie during that, and that's where I came up with Scotty's name, and just thought of the Riggs and Berthold thing. I love Riggs, so I came Riggs from Lethal Weapon.
Mel Gibson, yes. Then you took off 90s NWO. That when you turned on Scotty, that's when you just shot up, and I remember you were big time.
Yeah.
You were big time, man. How was it feeling being with the big boys, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan? Changed your life?
It was in Salisbury, Maryland is the city we were in. And me and Scotty were in the locker room, and we were probably in what you consider maybe the B, C locker room. And Kevin's, of course, in the A locker room. And he come down to the B locker room. He just don't usually come down like that. So we're like, hey, what's up, Kev? And he goes, hey, do you want to be in the NWO? And I was like, are you kidding? So, no, of course I do. So, and again, Scotty, you know, wasn't one of those things where anybody's mad. You know, Scotty was happy for me, but he knew it wasn't a good thing for him, but still he was happy for me. And so they thought of the deal where I came out and, you know, 30 days to join the NWO or you're fired. And so I come down first, turn on Scotty. But when I got in that ring, you know, you see Nash and Hall and all those names in there, the Giant, man, it's like, this is where I want to be right here. This is where I want to be.
Now, during this time, and maybe I take it back to your calf implants, you were developing an addiction problem, correct? With pills.
I would say, yeah. I would say playfully, absolutely. Things that were starting, not like waking up with a beer and a pill, but you know, every night doing some kind of what I would call a cigarette. We were having a few pills and drinking a couple of beers every night.
Yep. I mean, I was the same way. I'm a bodybuilder, work out, I could listen, take a pill, go out. You know, I was the same way.
Absolutely.
I know how it was, brother. The same thing.
Yes. You know.
As we start to fast forward because of time, WCW gets sold. You go to WWF, WWE. You go there, you try out with Vince, and you have the match. I'm going to be honest with you. I saw your match with Booker T. I loved it. I thought it was great. I don't know why.
Bro.
I don't know why you were fired or let go. I still don't know.
Hey, let me tell you something, brother. Let me tell you. If I don't know why I was fired, nobody does. I can tell you, all I can tell you is what happened, which was the fight with Shane. That again, they didn't even know. I told them that we got in a fight. Even the day they saw me bleeding, I told them I fell because all the guys were looking at me like, "Bagwell, don't tell them the real story." So I lied to Johnny Ace and Fit Finley, and I said, "No, man." I go, "I fell," and so I went to my own doctor, flew home with an open gash in my head. My doctor took care of it. It didn't cost the WWF a penny. I didn't say nothing. I come back to TV, and first person I saw after getting the staples in my head was Shane Helms and the Hardy Boys. And I said, "Hey, Shane," and he didn't say hey back. Keep in mind, until this state, right here at this junction, nobody knows the real story. The office don't even know the real story. And this just happens to be the day of the night I'm main event against Booker. So there's a lot more to this story. But to tell you to keep with that same day, I go straight to Johnny Ace. And I said, "Johnny, I got to talk to you." I told him the whole truth about the day I'm bleeding in the school. I told him exactly what happened. He got us all together. He made us all shake hands and make up and all that, which we did. And then I get on the card that I'm wrestling Booker T for the main event tonight. And so I'm like, "All right, let's do it, brother," And this is another thing that a lot of times people don't know, but I think it's still part of the story that nobody tells. I'm getting ready to go out, and I mean maybe like within 30, 45 seconds, my music may even have already just started. I swear to God, this story. Out of nowhere, Shane McMahon is in front of me. And as soon as I saw Shane, I know enough about this business that I know that I got to try to put my eyes on somebody that sees Shane right here, because this ain't good what's getting ready to happen. So I looked, and there's not one person that could verify that Shane McMahon is standing in front of me. And I'm like, "God dang it." And so I go, "Hey, Shane, what's up, man?" He goes, "You can't look in the camera tonight." And I said, "What?" He goes, "Don't look in the camera." And I go, "Shane," I go, "that's all I do." I said, "I look in the camera, I pose, and I give a pretty good match." I go, "That's what I do." He goes, "If you look in the camera, you're fired. I dare you to go back and look at the last 2 or 3 Buff Bagwell matches and then watch me and Booker. I don't look in the camera once because I was told not to. And if you watch that match like you have, there is not one mistake in that match. There's not a missed clothesline. There's not a bad punch. There's nothing mechanically wrong with that match.
No, there wasn't.
They just made that up. And here's what's sad. They made it up, but they made the world believe it. You don't fire a guy over a bad match, do you?
No.
I mean, really?
No.
Or the other one I heard was my mother called.
Yes, I've heard that.
What? Okay, fire her. What did I do? I didn't do anything. So my mother calling and a bad match is why I get fired? That's weak. Just tell me, look, I don't like you, get out, So I had no warning, no nothing, and I was gone. And bro, the addiction went when that happened.
So let me ask you, what is the difference between being released or fucking fired? What's the difference? Come on.
Well, let me tell you what happened when I heard it. I'm in the room, and I swear to God, true story. I'm in the room. First of all, I walk in the room, and I don't know. I've never had a job before, so I sure don't know what it's like to be fired. I walk in the room, and I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna brag on me about something." There's Vince and everybody. I'm like, "All right, they're gonna give me some kind of award." And as I sit down, I start looking at faces, and I'm like, "Oh, this ain't good. This still fired. You're Buff Bagwell in Atlanta, Georgia. You're not getting fired. There's no way." So I sit down, and they start talking, and I instantly go. And Shane and Vince goes, you ain't got to raise your hand, Mark. I go, no, I must raise my hand. I go, are y'all firing me? And they said, no, we're releasing you. And he goes to talk again, and I go, I raise my hand. He goes, Mark, you don't got to raise your hand. I go, oh, yeah, I do. I go, what is the difference of firing me and releasing me? And they had the best answer I've ever heard in my life. They had an answer to a question that there is no answer. They said, well, that's a good question, Mark. They said, if we release you, we got to redo your if we fire you, we got to redo your contract. If we release you, we do not. And I went, oh, okay, so what does that mean? So they said, call us back in 3 months. And I'm thinking, okay, at this junction, don't ask them more questions because maybe in 3 months they're going to let you come back. I mean, I knew down deep it was over, but still they gave me that hope, I think, just kind of get me out of the room, just get me on my way by calling it release. So I technically, at least verbiage-wise, I was released from the WWF. So I don't know your question. I don't know the answer to your question.
And as we are on the WWE topic, Vince McMahon, he's in the paper a lot. There's some allegations.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to comment about that? I mean, anything?
I don't. I love Vince McMahon, dude. I mean, Vince McMahon is who we watched on TV like you did and I did.
Yeah, sure.
He was Vince McMahon. He was Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circuit. He was the ringleader of all of it. He was Vince McMahon. He was the president of wrestling. When you knew about wrestling was Vince McMahon and the WWF. And I don't know more than 2 minutes with Vince McMahon. I've never been around him more than 2 minutes fully. I've talked to him over the phone more than I've talked to him in person. So I just don't really know Vince. I don't know him at all. I've heard all the stories, but look at all my stories. You know what to believe and not to believe. But this time, though, I actually feel bad for him. I don't want anything to happen to Vince McMahon, but it seems like all the allegations are really bad stuff. I hope the best for him.
Yeah, exactly. I do hope for the best for him. But as we kind of wrap things up a little bit, did you enjoy being a heel or babyface?
That's a great question. I don't get asked that one a lot, but I think I'd rather be a heel for sure. But I really think that I could have been a huge babyface coming off that broke neck. My parents were physically upset about me coming off that broke neck surgery and coming back as a bad guy. It really bothered them. I mean, they wanted to talk to Eric Bischoff, and I go, guys, you're not going to talk to Eric Bischoff. You can't talk to Eric Bischoff. But they were up. I mean, thousands of letters, bro, were written praying for me. I was paralyzed on live television, brother. And that carries some weight to these fans. It means a lot to them. And they were praying for me. Brother, I had to have 4 security guards outside my hospital room because people were lying and doing everything they could to get upstairs to me. I mean, it was a big deal. I mean, fighter pilots during Desert Storm were touching my picture before going off to war. I mean, it was crazy letters I had, and I still have all those letters, and I come back and I'm just going to shove it down their throats by being a bad guy. I mean, my parents were really upset, but I just said, look, man, I got to do what the company wants me to do. And I knew that being a good heel would make a good baby face eventually. So I became a really good bad guy.
Yeah, you did both of them pretty well,
Yeah.
And then your mom's storyline, God bless her, rest in peace, your mom. She really did a really great job. And I talked to Rick Steiner not too long ago, and he told me, he says he loved your mother. He loved your mother. He told me
that was my mother. That was his whole deal. He called me with the idea. He thought of the Judy Bagwell thing. Judy Bagwell and Rick Steiner were great friends. She loved that boy like a son, and they were real close. And he's the one that thought of it. He goes, man, we got to put your mom on TV. And I said, do what? And he thought of the whole angle. And I just perfectly timed out was Columbia, South Carolina, where I broke my neck. We had mom come back there, and I was out there being a heel. And here she come, slapped my face. And it was she was off and running.
Is there any wrestler, dead or alive, you wish you had the opportunity to wrestle?
Absolutely. There's a bunch of those. Like Kurt Hennig was one, but I wrestled Kurt, and that was one of my bucket list guys for sure. Rick Rude is one of my favorites, and I wrestled him a bunch of times. But like The Rock,
that would have been great.
I would have keep in mind The Rock and Buff Bagwell was coming right at each other.
That would have been great. That would have been great.
And it was ripped, brother. It was ripped away from me, brother. It was. It wasn't took away. It was ripped away from me. Every time I saw The Rock on TV, I just went, I should be there. I want to be there. I want to be there, brother. But we would call each other at signings and stuff and be like, hey, 3,500 people came to see me. And I'm like, 3,650 came to see me. And we would joke and laugh. And I never shook hands with The Rock. I never met The Rock ever. Big fan of his and all that. And Stunning Steve, I was able to wrestle Stunning Steve. But The Rock's way up there. Old timer dudes like Snuka. I think about could have wrestled Snuka. But I think first, number one would be I missed the wheelhouse would have been wrestling The Rock.
Yeah. They had some wrestlers there at the time when you left, when they got rid of you, that you were 10 times better than them. Just persona and everything that I wish that they would have kept you. I really wish they would have kept you. It didn't make sense to me.
It was definitely a gigantic push into my addiction for sure.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna wrap up because of your time. I want to respect your time, but I'd love to do this again with you because you were great. I love talking to you, brother.
Bro, as you can tell, I love telling stories. How much do you weigh?
I'm 240.
I love it. 240. You look great. I love it. Yes.
I'm buff.
I love bodybuilding. Me, brother. I'm buff and I'm the stuff.
Yes, I'm friends with a lot of pro bodybuilders.
As soon as you came on TV, I was like, my boy is loaded. I love it. He looks great.
I'm 240, I go to the gym every day, I love How many days a week did you go to the gym?
But I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it again with you, man. I'd love to do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Why
know.
don't you tell my audience where you're going to be? Maybe your Instagram, you have a YouTube channel coming out?
Yeah, I do. So the best way to get in touch with me or see my stuff would be go to MarcusBuffBagwell.com. That's my website, MarcusBuffBagwell.com. That'll take you to all my social media pages. I'm also on Twitch with Buff and Buff. It's Buff and Stuff. Buff and Stuff podcast. Buff and Stuff podcast. That's on Twitch and YouTube. And what about? Oh, it's Buff in Stuff. Buff in Stuff podcast and YouTube. And but the best way to check me out, man, would be go to MarcusBuffBagwell.com. All my social media stuff's on there. My store's on there. My email address is MarcusBuffBagwell@gmail.com. Anybody wants to get in touch with me, I'm easy to get in touch with. A lot of stuff.
You'll be at WrestleCon. You'll be at WrestleCon.
Huh?
You're going to be at WrestleCon in Philly.
Yes.
I'm going to be there also.
All right. Well, come find me.
Yeah, and I'd like to take you and Stacy out when I get over there.
You got it, man. Please do. That'd be fun.
Yes, it would definitely be fun. So, Marcus, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time. I would love to do it again, and I definitely going to see you soon. Thank you so much. Love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. I love you too. Have a good one, brother.
You got it.